Oh, hello there. Oh, don't worry. This isn't a mistake. In fact, clicking on this video may have been the best decision of your life. Welcome to the Wunderfan Show. I'm your host, Henry Markin. And let me just tell you, this show is very, very different from everything else you may see on this platform. This isn't just, 2025, new year, new me. I'm going to start a podcast. No. Dare I say, the Wunderfan Show is the first of its kind. The Wunderfan Show pays you to watch this show on the Wunderfan app. The Wunderfan Show is just like the Wunderfan app. If you've never heard of the Wunderfan app, Wunderfan is a sports rewards app that gives you cash rewards simply because you're at a game or stadium or you're watching sports on the Wunderfan app. That's right. You get paid to watch sports, to go to games. It's not too good to be true. People ask all the time, how is Wunderfan real? How does this make any sense? This has to be too good to be true. Hold my beer. We are doubling down. No, scratch that. This is the triple crown of doubling down because Wunderfan not only pays you to go to games, watch sports from the Wunderfan app, but now Wunderfan will pay you to watch the Wunderfan show on the Wunderfan app. So that's the triple crown of doubling down. You're welcome. If you see this face speaking words to you on the Wunderfan app, congratulations. You're in the right place. You are getting paid to watch that. And by the way, that's not because it's a chore. Like my stuff is so bad I have to pay you to watch. No, that's well, I hope not. Wunderfan is a sports fan rewards app that pays its fans for doing stuff they love to do and we're already doing. You can now earn cash rewards by doing so. Now, why haven't you heard of this show before? Well, the reason is because we're doing somewhat of a soft launch. Usually a soft launch means you show a shoulder or a hand of your significant other on your Instagram story for about 5 seconds. No, we're doing the buffet order of soft launch. This is the hardest soft launch ever to exist. We're going all in on the first episode, but, bear with us because, we're new. This show will air twice a week live on the Wunderfan YouTube channel. We're going to live stream this. It's also going to be an interactive show where you could call in like a radio show, talk to me, rant about your team or your bet that exploded and fell apart in the first quarter. I know mine certainly does. I didn't tell you when because it does every weekend. The number is 424-299-1235. Again, 424-299-1235. Call that number. You'll speak to me live during the show. Or if I don't answer, it's because I'm probably talking to someone else or because the show's over. You can leave a nice voicemail. And yes, we will play that voicemail on the show. So do with it what you will. Have fun. All right, enough flirting. It's time for this shit to get real. Welcome to episode 1 of the Wunderfan Show. Okay, Monday, January 6th. Happy Monday. Wow. That little winter break from Christmas to New Year's to now, that was like a year. I had no idea what days were what during that time. It was just, I know when certain games were, and I guess I could reverse engineer how long ago Christmas was. I had no idea Christmas was on a Wednesday. It was just Christmas Eve, Christmas, 3-ish days in between of just sleep and eat and losing bets on random bowl games. And then, okay, now it's New Year's. And then, but usually you start work or school after, no, you had like another couple of days. It was another random day of New. It's just so much time off. I opened my computer. There was literally cobwebs on it. No, not really. I don't live in a shed, but you know what I mean? It was dusty. Okay, the NFL regular season is done. Wow. That season zipped by. I mean, it was like that. It felt like the Ravens-Chiefs first game of the year where the toe was on the line. I felt like that was 2 nights ago. Nope. That was 18 weeks ago. Wow. Stay young, kids, because it happens quick. Jeez. Is that what it feels like getting old, by the way, where you're just like, 2020 was 5 years ago. 2015 was 10. 2015 was 10 years ago. That's disgusting. I felt like it was 3 years ago. Playoffs are beginning. If your team made it, you don't give a shit what happened, but the rest of America, whose team was already out, they're just devastated that the Bengals didn't make it. Just devastated. Again, if you're a Broncos fan or a Texans fan or a Chiefs fan, you don't care. In fact, you're probably stoked that the Broncos beat the Chiefs, but everyone else is just bummed. Bengals were never going to the playoffs. That was never going to happen, by the way. The Broncos were always going to beat the Bengals. Do you really think Andy Reid was just going to be like, oh, it's up to me to have Joe Burrow in the playoffs, the one guy on the one team that gives us actual trouble every year in the postseason. Yeah, let him in. Come on in. Yeah, have a seat. Do you want to split a double cheeseburger with me after you beat me? No, he was never going to let him in. It was never going to be Bills versus Bengals. As much fun as that would have been for someone like me, who the 49ers is my team, have been out for weeks, I would have loved to see Burrow in there to muck it up. That would have been awesome. I mean, every week, Burrow versus somebody, it's going to be cinema. Great, great football. That was never going to happen. It would have been Bills versus Bengals. So we're losing Joe Burrow or Josh Allen in the first round. One of those guys is going down. Let's just say the Bengals beat the Bills. The Chiefs would have then played the Bengals, being, the Bengals are the lowest seed, so the Chiefs have the bye, the number one seed. They play the lowest seed automatically. We would have had Bengals Chiefs. There's a possibility that Joe Burrow could have knocked out both Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes before the AFC Championship game even started. That would have been insane. Andy Reid was never going to let that happen. No way. In fact, there may have been an AFC head coaches group chat between Andy Reid, McDermott of the Bills, Mike Tomlin, the Harbaughs. Like, they probably were like in cahoots, like, hey guys, so we all agree we can't have the Bengals in here. And everyone's like, oh yeah, absolutely. The Harbaughs are like, yeah, definitely. Like, everyone's like, yes, no Burrow, absolutely not. And so then they add Sean Payton to the chat, and Andy Reid sends him a screenshot of all the plays he's going to run. It's like, hey, Sean, no tricks. Here you go. Congratulations. You're in. Like, there's no way, right? I hope not. The Chiefs could have honestly laid down that game. All they had to do was just let the Broncos win, and Burrow is gone. That's sort of the problem of, I guess, the Bengals starting off where they 1-4, fighting an uphill battle. It's really, really tough to do. The Rams did it, but the Rams are also pretty good. The Bengals just have a wet towel for a defense. At the end of the day, if you're the Bengals, again, don't lose to the 4-win Patriots week 1, and this whole dilemma gets solved. But they did. They lost. Fun to think about. Bummer to see Joe Burrow go, but the Broncos in the playoffs, I mean, they're actually a decent team. That might be a good game, I guess. Broncos-Bills, probably not. I bet you the Bills will still turn the Broncos into glue. Josh Allen will run all over them. Tony Romo, if he's on the game, calling the game, he'll be like, oh, Jim, it's going to be a game of cat and mouse here with the Broncos trying to catch Josh Allen. Jim, he's just so good, Jim. Yep. I think we can all agree that we're stoked the Dolphins did not make it. So thank you, Aaron Rodgers. If this was the last hurrah, the last dance, the final showcase, if this was your last game, thank you for beating the Dolphins to make sure they had no chance of going to the playoffs. That would have sucked. I mean, that's just a waste of a game. What is that? Just Bills, Dolphins, week 1? We've seen that. A wounded Dolphins versus the Bills. Yeah, I've seen that over and over. That sucks. I don't need that. No, thank you. Nobody wants that. So I think we're all, I guess, okay with the consolation prize of the Broncos. If you can't get the Bengals, Broncos are way better than the Dolphins from a television perspective. Hell, the Broncos could beat the Bills. No, they can't. But it's fun to think about. The good news is because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have a bye, I think we'll get a pretty fair first weekend. So no tinkering. We won't see much of a ref show, I don't think. Of course, you never know. They might try to preserve Josh Allen, but what's wrong with that? I think all the mid teams will lose. I'm not going to give my official predictions yet. That's not fair. I need a few days to sort of digest the bracket a little bit. But I think just the way that it looks right now, all the mid teams are going to lose and all the really bad teams are out. Like, there's a couple of teams where you win your division. It's like, God, like in years past when you've had like these miserable AFC South teams, like the Titans, like the Texans, they're still a solid team. A lot of their guys are hurt, but like Stroud's still a dog. And, Texans, Chargers, I believe that's the first playoff game. That's no gimme for the Chargers, right? So that's great news for America, right? Or the world, everyone watching. I think you're going to get good football. I think you'll get good football. I think every team in the first round technically is a contender. Obviously, they're all in the playoffs, but every team playing in this first round, they've all beaten teams sort of above them, right? I mean, the Bills have beaten the Chiefs. The Texans have beaten the Bills. Tampa, they're good. Like, they're no pushover. They've beaten both Philly and Detroit. So remember, they're still around. Chargers, they can play. All these teams can play. Washington, they just beat Philly as well. I think all the mid teams will lose, but we have no bad teams. I don't think anybody really has an easy route. Bryce Young made sure of that when he knocked out the Falcons. Wow. I mean, that dude, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you were lifeless in the month of September and October. You were really down bad end of October, and now you're like stoked. In fact, I would go so far to say if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you're probably thinking that was a fleece getting Bryce Young and getting rid of Moore and not getting Caleb. Might be egregious, but Bryce Young looks pretty good. 5 touchdowns yesterday. Wow. Speaking of mid, the Vikings probably had the most forgettable 14-3 season in NFL history. Like, if they lose in the first round this year, you'll forget about what the Vikings did by March if they lose to the Rams this weekend. And imagine that. You lose 3 games all year. Of course, the third loss forces you to go on the road in the playoffs and play Matt Stafford, probably one of his more deadly wide receiver lineups he's ever had. Okay, today, the spread in the Rams-Vikings game, it's a pick'em. That's incredible. 14-3 versus the Rams started 1-4. The Vikings ended 14-3, and Vegas is terrified of this game. They're like, I don't know. You pick it. That's what a pick'em is. It's like, I'm not sure. You choose. I choose the Rams. Purely because it's just a remarkable skid by the Vikings. I don't even think they could stop their own momentum downhill. It's crazy how different the Lions and Vikings have it. That's an unfortunate turn of events for the Vikes. Lions have home field throughout a bye. You win one game, you're in the NFC Championship. The Vikings have to go through hell just to get to where the Lions are in a week. And Darnold looks like the Darnold on the Jets where he was seeing ghosts. Remember that when he said about the New England Patriots that one night? He's like, it's like I'm seeing ghosts. Darnold is haunted right now. He's seeing ghosts everywhere. I'm not making an official prediction on the playoffs today, but I don't have the Vikings doing much. Yeah, I'm all over the Rams. I think if I had to make a prediction, unofficially, of course, I want to say Lions, Bills, Super Bowl, but that won't happen. I mean, that would just be way too much fun, right? We can't have nice things. That would make way too much sense, be so much fun. No, I think we're very much in line to get a rematch of the Eagles versus Chiefs, which would suck because then you're caught rooting for one of two awful situations. A three-peat from the Chiefs, which is like, yay, go favorites. Like, it's like, go empire, go corporations, go business. Or you have to root for a team from Philly. God. Anyways, I'm not making an official prediction. More on this later this week during our live show. Man, it should be a fun playoffs, though. Really should be a fun playoffs. I'm just weary that we're going to get Eagles-Chiefs, but if we get Eagles-Chiefs, I'm right. So I guess it's not really a total lose. It's a win, lose for me, at least, for being right. God, that's egotistic. Okay, college football, obviously. Wow, what a couple of weeks as well. And I mean, wow, not because we've been getting the best games, but just wow. Just wow across the board. So a lot of surprise, a lot of controversy. Hot topic. College football in mid-January. We're still happening. This is sort of new, right? Usually college football is kind of wrapped up by now. You have one game left, and it's like, all right, you got Bama versus Georgia for the 6th time, or Clemson. It's not been the best game in the last couple of years. In fact, I'm already on to college basketball by this time. Usually, I don't believe this. It's mid-January, and we got 3 more college football games to go? Let's start with Oregon, because Oregon took the biggest loss of the week, probably the last couple weeks, on the field, off the field, emotionally, spiritually, logistically, every sense of the word. Oregon got screwed. Whack, whack. Dead ducks. This may have been the biggest curb stomping. This is a league-wide curb stomping of Oregon. I don't think I've ever seen a number one seed in any sport get trounced, punished as badly as Oregon did across the board. Let's just start on the field, right? So we've seen number one seeds go down, right? Tennessee Titans, a couple years ago, they had the number one overall seed in the AFC and they lost. Like, it happens. But to get beaten up, like with a shovel, Ohio State beat the hell out of them. This game was never close. Oregon never had a chance. It was so over so quickly. Oregon does their famous shout at the start of the fourth quarter at home. And so they did that here not here, but they did it at the Rose Bowl. It was probably the most wounded, depressing, lifeless shout I've ever seen. They did it at the Rose Bowl, and like the fans that were still there, because Oregon's down 20 going into the fourth quarter, but like not like a fun 20 where it's like, all right, we're moving, we're at the goal line. It's like like a resentful starting back on offense again. It reminded me of someone in the school band who is sobbing, but like they still have to play the flute during timeouts. Like, that meme, one of the band members, her eyeshadow is her makeup is just running down like Niagara Falls. It's an incredible photo. That was the Oregon shout. It was just so sad because it's like, and you make me want to shout, like it was so sad. So that's on the field. Oregon got trounced. Off the field, like logistically, Oregon is the victim of learning on the fly. Like the college football playoff still has 2 more rounds, 3 games of playoff football. And the committee was already like, yeah, so we definitely got to make changes next year. Like Oregon is in the middle of getting just chopped up and sold to different buyers at like a meat market. And the committee's like, yeah, so sorry, Oregon. I'm sorry you had to die. Oregon literally had to die on New Year's Day. But next year we'll be better. We'll be better. Yep. As Oregon's getting chopped, their head chopped in half. Like everyone saw this coming. I don't want to say nobody saw Oregon getting killed coming, but everybody knew Oregon was just going to get slaughtered. Like logistically, their route to winning a natty was going to be one of the toughest routes probably ever. And if you look on the other side of the playoff bracket, it's a walk in the park. Oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh. Here it is. We got our first caller on the Wunderfan Show as promised. Here we go. Yes, hello. Who is this?
Hey, this is Timothy Bain. How are you?
Timothy Bain, welcome to the Wunderfan Show. You just interrupted my segment about Oregon. This better be good. Where are you calling from, Timothy?
I'm sorry. I'm calling from Tallahassee, Florida right now.
Timothy Bain is calling from Tallahassee, Florida. What do you want to talk about, Timothy Bain?
I want to talk about those Lions.
Oh, the roar of the Lions. I just finished discussing the Lions. You guys and the Vikings have 2 very different paths. You guys are in paradise and they're in purgatory. What do you got for me, Timothy?
Well, I just wanted to see your take on them and if you think that Dan Campbell's Balls will win the Super Bowl or if it'll cost them.
I think he's definitely going to need to see his physician. That's for sure. I mean, he's probably got a little bit of scar tissue with the amount of times he's been showing his balls all year. I mean, you can't just keep pulling out your nutsack and putting it in a wheelbarrow and expect nothing to happen to them. You gotta protect the jewels, man. They absolutely donkey kicked, curb stomped the Vikings. I was just saying that Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts again. He's haunted again. And I feel like everyone wants to see Lions Bills, but it's not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. Like
What do you think?
Well, this is unofficial, of course. This is off the record because I don't make my official prediction until later this week. But I think it's going to be Chiefs, Eagles, unfortunately. As gross as that sounds. I think Dan Campbell is just going to run out of testicles. I think Unfortunately, that's his best weapon and his biggest flaw is just trying to out nutsack every team every week. And, at some point you're going to get scar tissue. I don't know if it's going to happen during this week, if he's just getting too cute with his plays, and we're going to do a fake kneel down. We're going to do a fake team prayer. We're going to do a fake knifing. And then, oh, surprise, the ref's on it too. I think you just can't win playoff games in the NFL like that. You could win a lot of regular season games and definitely sell some season tickets, but they might just try to just out nutsack the other team and just, I don't know, they might implode. They have to win one game to go to the NFC Championship though, but whoever they play, probably the Eagles. Bet you the Eagles got them. Unfortunately, I hate it.
I think that's a hot take. I hope that's a hot take.
Well, sounds like you're one with the pride, man. You a Lions fan?
I am part of the den.
Part of the den. What do you think's going to happen, Timothy Bain?
Well, I think aside from our 150 injuries on defense and offense, I think that Dan will pull through. I think maybe he'll get us to the bowl. And then I think it's in the refs' hands from there for playing the Chiefs.
If it's in the refs' hands from there, sayonara, pal. You got no shot.
Oh, yeah, they got a couple extra guys on the field. But
Stripes will be wearing red and yellow for that game, but I'm pulling for you. We're all pulling for you. If it's Lions-Chiefs, it's going to be that map. It's just going to be America, the size and color of a Detroit Lion, and the one red dot is in Kansas City. That's it. That's who everyone wants, 100%. Anything else, Timothy Bain, before I let you go back into the wilderness, wherever it is you're from in Tallahassee?
That's all. I hope you have a great rest of the show. I don't want to intrude for too long.
Well, you've been just a delight. A lot less chaotic than I thought for our first ever caller on the Wunderfan Show. Timothy Bain, thank you so much. Well, that was nice. That was a friendly little exchange. I was expecting the first call to be like, well, Dan Campbell showing his nutsack. Not good. Well, depending on who you ask. But what was I saying? Oregon football. Everyone knew that they were just going to play an absolute gauntlet, and they got killed, and that sucks. And now Penn State, who played two decent teams, Notre Dame played Indiana, my Hoosiers, which was a tough game to watch, but I guess I understand. Maybe Indiana wasn't that good. We're probably a little bit out kicking our coverage there in Bloomington. Oregon probably should have played Arizona State or Boise State or had a bye or had that game at home. I don't know, but they screwed up, and the committee acknowledged the screw up while Oregon was getting killed. Here's also what sucks if you're an Oregon fan, because you didn't just lose in the bracket. You didn't just lose logistically. You didn't just lose by $1 trillion on the field. Just to add a little bit more salt to the wound, Oregon State fans absolutely loved what they saw. And I know that Oregon moved, they migrated to the Big Ten, and Oregon State is still one of the two teams in the Pac-12, but the Civil War rivalry is still very much a thing. And I know Beavers still very much love seeing, ducks getting defeathered and taxidermied and just killed, right? Well, get this. So the Rose Bowl pays the Pac-12 $50 million a year for the next 2 years, $100 million, because of this agreement that the Rose Bowl had with the Pac-12 conference. Now, that $50 million used to be spread across the whole conference. Here's $50 million to have to Utah, to Colorado, Oregon State. Everybody gets the $50 million because the conference would kind of host the Rose Bowl. Well, the Pac-12 is only 2 teams right now. They're adding more teams in a couple of years, but as the contract states, as the deal states, the Pac-12 is really just a Pac-2. Oregon State and Washington State got paid $100 million. Oregon State got $50 million just to watch Oregon get smoked by Ohio State. Wow. That is insane. So that's just going to go to NIL and getting stud receivers and quarterbacks in new stadium. Oregon obviously isn't short of cash, but that's sort of the one thing they'll really have on Oregon State is like their Oregon, their Phil Knight, their Nike, their everything. Oregon State's never going to catch up. Well, that may have just maybe that could have created a little bit of a hitch in the next couple of Civil Wars. Oregon State has a little bit of cash flow now, $50 million to spend. Holy shit. That may have changed the Civil War. I mean, don't be surprised if you see Oregon State win a next couple Civil Wars, 1 or 2, maybe, absolutely. I think it's also worth mentioning that Ohio State served duck as a post-game meal for the players. The dish was called Oregon Ducks. It was a roasted duck. Oh my God. Wow. So Oregon lost in every single way. On the field, off the field, logistically, spiritually, environmentally. Holy shit. Wow. That's too bad. As far as the rest of the college football playoff games go, we got 3 games, 2 semis, and a natty. Texas, Ohio State, and then the other side, we got Penn State, Notre Dame. I think we're going to get 2 great games and a really crappy natty. That's what I think we're going to get. Ohio State's probably going to beat Texas. I think it would be close. Texas is good. I mean, they can play with good teams. I don't think they're incredible. They play with their food, kind of like a cat. But the other game, Notre Dame, Penn State, I think that would be a good game too. I just think that Ohio State will then destroy whoever wins that game. I might just be salty. I saw it coming. I knew Notre Dame was going to beat Georgia. I said the winner of the Indiana-Notre Dame game was going to beat Georgia because we don't know anything about this Gunnar Stockton guy, right? And the Georgia Bulldogs have won all their games with Carson Beck. You know, not that he was some stud, but this Gunner guy comes off the bench. Sure, I'm sure he was a 4-star a couple years ago. He didn't play a snap until he had to in the SEC championship game. I guess I'm just happy that the SEC is, for all intents and purposes, removed from the playoffs this year. And I'm happy because it's cool to watch other conferences do well and perform. I appreciate that there are no more SEC teams. I guess you could say Texas is in the SEC, but they're a transplant. I don't even know if the SEC recognizes Texas in as the SEC yet. I guess no Georgia, no Bama, no Ole Miss, no Auburn. That's cool. Why? Because it's a break for once. It's nice. It's nice to see some new faces in there. It's cool to have a fresh taste in your mouth without the same regurgitated junk you get every year. And it's also nice because what's interesting, and this is not my original thought, this has been speculated on the internet past couple of days, the first time that it's like officially allowed across the NCAA to pay players, you see the absence of SEC teams. It's not like they didn't show up. They were there. But they were just like everybody else. Is that a coincidence? Like, were they really good forever and then now they're not good? Or were they really good at paying players? It's not my thought. In fact, it's a very popular thought right now. Not taking any credit for that originality. I'm just, once again, posing the question. Did the SEC pay players forever and we're just really good at it? And now everyone else can do it. It's not so special anymore. Or was this just crazy coincidental? Was this just an anomaly of mass proportions? Was this some freak accident where every single SEC team that was good fell apart? I don't know. I think it's funny. How did they get those players so good for so long? I mean, because it was decades of dominance. Like the SEC, it just meant more. Maybe it just meant more money. I mean, only time will tell if the SEC truly does mean more or if it just means more money in players' pockets. Only time will tell. Okay, last bit is this. This would be the time when I go over voicemails from the week. So the phone is going to be on Do Not Disturb. In between episodes, I'm not going to touch the phone. Feel free to leave any voicemails you want. Feel free to call 424-299-1235. Again, that's 424-299-1235. As luck would have it, folks, we have one voicemail. Let's take a listen.
Hey, the 49ers are the worst freaking team in the NFL. I can't stand Shanahan, man. That guy's a skunk. I don't even want him on my team. I don't know. You feel like Shanahan just worked at the zoo. What a joke. 49ers are an absolute joke. They should be relegated to college football.
Okay. Thank you so much, random caller. I don't know if the Niners should be relegated to college football. I definitely don't think Shanahan should work for the zoo, but I understand your concern. This was an off year. Definitely an off year. I don't know if it would be that big of a deal, though, come next year, when the Niners have the easiest schedule in football. That's what happens. When you are a fourth place team, you get a fourth place schedule. Boy, this looks fun. I mean, this might be an incoming 15-2 year, 14-3, 16-1. I don't see why not. They're playing no one. And it's a huge year for everyone coming back. Debo's got to prove himself. Brock may have to play for his money. I don't know if he's going to get the bag this year. He might get $20 million next year for 2 years. And sort of like, if you earn it, you get it. I don't know. Hey, all I'm saying is don't put Shanahan in the zoo. You definitely need to fix the defense. Maybe you let the defensive coordinator walk, because there was a couple times when I was literally pulling my hair out watching whatever that was. Not defense, not that I know of. But yeah, I don't quit on the Niners just because they had a bad year this year. This happens all the time. Super Bowl hangovers are real. Championship hangovers are real. And the Niners' expectation is so damn high that if they have just a run-of-the-mill or somewhat of a bottom-tier season, it feels like the world's falling apart. It's not. We're about to get a great draft pick with the 11th overall in the first round. Fourth place schedule means the easiest schedule in the NFL. Incoming, I'm going to say it, 15-2 season from the Niners next year. Book it. And just like that, folks, that's all the time we have left today on episode 1 of the Wunderfan Show. Thank you to all the callers that participated and called in. Remember, download the Wunderfan app. Everyone wins while using Wunderfan. You can earn cash rewards by going to games, going to stadiums, scrolling on the Wunderfan app. The feed, it pays you, scroll to watch sports. And now, thanks to the Wunderfan Show, if you see me and any clip of me talking on the Wunderfan feed, congratulations, you're earning cash rewards just like that. Okay, that's it. We will see you later this week where we'll be live. Again, call the number 424-299-1235. That's 424-299-1235. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you next time on the Wunderfan Show.